Forget the introductions. I'm not going to do the song and dance here. I'm Ben Brust, Kyle Wallace, Brad Nortman. We are Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. No, how's your day, Kyle? No, how's your day, Brad? No, how's your day, Strofe? KBN Nation, I want to hear from you. 800-990-3776 on the Carbless Talk and Text line. Less is more. We're live on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee and at ESPN Madison. The day is still young-ish, but it feels like it's been 24 hours of news, and it's only been 3 hours of legal tampering and bombshells this morning when I wake up about Devonte Adams going to the Los Angeles Rams. There is so much going on, but here's what I can tell you. If you're just coming out of maybe you just woke up and you're rolling out of bed and you're like, hey, what do the Packers do today? Nothing. Goody could be asleep right now and we would have no idea. We would have no idea. 1265, are you awake? Hello? 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 It's just ridiculous. It's straight up garbage right now that we're starting the show, and all I heard from Goody was that there needs to be a sense of urgency and we need to start thinking about championships. We talked all about the top 15 in cap space for this team. The reason why I'm frustrated is because can the Packers still make a move? Yes. Are there a list of guys that we'll go through that are already off the table that could have been guys for the Green Bay Packers? Absolutely. But the time is a-ticking, and shame on me. I did what, guys? I overused a term 50 million times over the last month.
Which one? There's a lot. Bullets?
Temper your expectations. And sure, then I was like, Rob Domofsky's joining Wilde and Tausch 9 to noon across these stations. He's hearing from people that the Packers are talking to agents, and they're going to be. It sounds like they're going to be active in free agency. Was it going to be day 3? Was it going to be day 2? Because I think a lot of us were hoping day 1. Devonte Adams signs with the Los Angeles Rams. DJ Reed, a cornerback, signs with the Detroit Lions after Carlton Davis goes. The Chicago Bears, nobody of the Packers necessarily had in their eyes, revamped their entire offensive line. And the Packers are sitting here, and I saw on ESPN Milwaukee all day long, I've been thinking what we put out on social. The guy with the stick saying, do something. Do something, do something, do something.
Yeah, I mean, the first two teams that you mentioned as well with the Green Bay Packers is that you're not just competing against the Lions in the division, you're also competing with them against the championship, and they improved. They got better. They invested in their football team. You look at the Los Angeles Rams. This is a football team that actually won a playoff game this year, and what did they do? They went and they got better, and so you're right. The Green Bay Packers and Goody, they need to do something. He sit here, and so far, now, there's still time. I'm going to tell y'all this right now, KBN Nation. I'm a little delusional, but I'm starting to lose my patience. Every minute, every hour, I'm losing some of my patience. But overall, he talked about a sense of urgency, and this is not a sense of urgency so far. We haven't seen him be very urgent in trying to acquire talent to make this roster better. And this is a problem for the Green Bay Packers because when I look at it, this football team was not good enough the way they were assembled last year. So if you think for a second you can run it back, reassemble this team, assembled the way it was last year, or you can run it back by trying to take some mid-range guys, not getting any top-end talent, the only thing you're running back is you're running back getting put out of the playoffs. And that is not what we are looking for or aspiring for as Packers fans or as an organization.
I feel like a dad.
You're too calm. What do you think he's cooking up right now, Kyle?
Listen,
what do you think he's cooking up?
I told you, my patience is wearing thin. Okay, there's one lad.
You're smiling.
Listen, there's one.
What are you happy? What is there to be happy? Tell me what to be happy about.
When you upset, you can only smile from crying or smile from snapping on people. And so right now, I got this little grin on my face right here on ESPN Wisconsin, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube, ESPN Madison on YouTube. I got a grin because he got to have something up his sleeve. I'm just saying, he's the one that says sense of urgency. I'm just saying, he's the one talking about a championship window. So there's got to be something up his sleeve. Ain't no way in hell he looked at this free agency in this offseason and said, we got to have a sense of urgency, but it's all about working out. We good. Fellas, we good. We don't need to add nobody. So if Josh Sweat is not a Green Bay Packer by the end of tomorrow, all hell is going to break loose. Listen, I'm going to light it up. I'm going to set it off.
You know what the first two phases of the 5 stages of grief are? It's denial and bargaining. It feels like Kyle Wallace is in the early phases of the 5 stages of grief. And look, I'm right there with you.
Will anger strike from 2 to 5?
I feel like I feel like I'm a dad whose kids got in trouble. It's like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I expect greater things from you. When you think about this time last year, you can't help but think about this time last year. Packers, youngest team in the NFL history to not only make the playoffs, win a playoff game, and then you go out and you scoop up Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney, and you're thinking to yourself, let's go. We don't need to think about making the playoffs. We think about, can this team make a Super Bowl run? It feels like all the momentum from that point until this point, whether it be the Packers kind of struggling, they won some games this year. You can't take that away from them, but they didn't beat good teams. They exited early in the playoffs. And now you're dealing with a situation where the improvements that we feel like need to get made are not being made. There's not that sense of urgency that Goody is talking about. And whether it be in life or the NFL, if you're unwilling to get out of your comfort zone, you just can never be great. And I'm waiting on Goody to do that. I'm waiting for Goody to get outside his comfort zone. And maybe I'm not super close to Kyle Wallace, but I'm wondering if maybe Goody will do something. Josh Sweat, now at this point, you'd say that would be a step in the right direction.
That's the last thing.
He's got to get outside his comfort zone if he wants to be great. If he doesn't do that, then we can just expect good after good after good.
Well, let's take a time out here and go back to the start of the day. It was Jason Wilde, which you can hear on Wilde and Tausch across these various stations from 9 to noon. He now writes for Channel 3000. I was listening to Alex Strofe and Homer and Josh DiMaggio on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. And the report is, as it pertained to Goody and Devonte Adams, about reaching out, even just reaching out and inquiring about Devonte Adams, allegedly there was none. Two nuns. Did the Packers reach out to Devonte Adams?
No.
Nope. None. That is malpractice. That is a hubris getting in the way of doing your job.
That's a good word right there.
It is. I mean, like, Devonte Adams, one of the greatest wide receivers in the history of the Green Bay Packers and in the NFL, said he was open to coming to Green Bay. He himself, in an article also written by Jason Wilde, said he was open to coming to Green Bay. At bare minimum, I'm not saying that he has to be a Green Bay Packer right now. I know he's with the Rams. But at bare minimum, your job is to reach out and to see what is out there. His hubris to me is saying, you know what? Hell with that. I got my 3 to 5 year plan. I believe in the guys that I have. I'm not going to reach for $23 million a year on an older player at 32 years old. It doesn't fit what I'm trying to do. Yes, and ultimately, we are now reaching the point where it has been 15 plus years, longer than the drought that it was from the first Super Bowl of 96 to 2010. We're past that now. And so there's a building frustration of continuing to do it the Goody way, the Packer way, when all the talk amongst the offseason was there is cap space. They did sign two guys last year.
So what are we just going to sit on all this pile of money? Like,
I guess so.
Sitting on there is no, hey, Goody, Packers, there is no trophy for having the most money. You get nothing. You get laughed at. Don't just sit on it.
I almost wonder if Goody is just doubling down on his formula, holding off on that money to extend the guys that he drafted.
What guys?
Zach Tom.
What guys?
Zach Tom would be one.
Okay, that's
who is going to get one. I don't know. Is he waiting for Reed to make a big step forward?
Is he?
I don't know. I'm grasping at straws to try to make sense of this because there are noticeable holes and there are guys that can fill those holes. And when you're not active in improving the team, the biggest thing is everyone else is getting better. Not only your division, Bears, Lions, Vikings, they all got better today. But you got the Rams that are getting better. The Commanders are getting better.
The Buccaneers signed two guys that would have been very nice.
The Eagles keep on making moves. You are falling behind. You are getting relatively worse compared to everybody else in the NFC, not even to mention the NFL. The Super Bowl has never felt further than this moment right now compared to when they started off making that playoff run in middle of the 2023 season.
On the Carb List talk and text line, JS chimes in. I'm starting to think I found Goody. He's alive. I found the burner. The championship window in the Packers is a joke. Sweat is going to be overpriced and a bad signing. Tay wants more than the rest of the wide receiver room. Stop this spin and stupidity. Oh, spend to spend is what losers do. What losers do?
I like that. They done sent somebody. The Packers done sent somebody to troll to try to set us straight.
So
I'm glad good.
So the Packers are good as they are then.
Yeah,
You're
he wants more
content with who they
compensatory
are.
picks. JS does.
Jay, what are you saying? This got to be somebody from the Packers.
That's what I'm saying.
Ain't no way you want picks. You want to do what with them? Huh? To do
Stop.
what with
The Bears didn't get better today is the newest text.
Come on.
This is crazy. We're in troll right now, and I'm not in the mood for it. I am not in the mood for it. I have to admit, as somebody that hates the Bears, is that I give them credit when they're smart. The Chicago Bears made smart decisions. You know why they made smart decisions? Because they understood they needed to protect their most important asset, which is their quarterback. And that's exactly what they did. They went out and got 2 guards in the center.
Hit the KBN Sports Desk. Another one bites the dust. Do. Josh Sweat to the Cardinals.
Adam Schefter, 18 seconds ago, Josh Sweat to the Cardinals for a 4-year deal. $76 million.
And just some quick cleanup, fellas. 2 wide receivers have gone off the board since the start of our show as well. De'Ami Brown, I don't know where he went, but Josh Palmer went to the Bills, the former Charger receiver. De'Ami Brown, the former Commander.
Godwin went back to the Buccaneers, who was a free agent that some said, hey, if you're not going to get Devonte or DK, is it that guy? It's just...
So Josh Sweat is going to the Cardinals for roughly $19 million a year. What's Rashawn Gary making?
25 plus?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, Kenny Clark makes more than that, too.
That is ridiculous. That's the problem, is you are jammed up in your decision-making because of past mistakes.
Oh, my gosh, Goody.
You've given Gary an extension. You've given...
Kenny
Clark an extension. My mind's getting all fried with this.
He'll probably get Lucas Van Ness an extension in 2 years. What are y'all laughing
cash
for?
in the wrong direction, and you can't even do. That's a value signing right there. $19 million a year sounds like a lot. Not for a productive D end. It's not.
I mean, he wasn't the stud of their defense. I will say, Josh Sweat, good upside. I think he had 7.5 sacks last year, and they were a monster of a defensive line. But again, this just goes to. I blame myself. I blame myself for getting excited that this day might be something different than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
for the amount of times I told Kyle, don't do this to yourself, don't do this to yourself, don't do this to yourself, I ended up doing it to myself. Yeah. So I'm the idiot too.
Now seeing that Josh Sweat is off the board, this is disastrous for free agency for the Green Bay Packers. And my delusion is coming in. Maybe it's Trey Hendrickson, but we know it's not Trey. The Packers ain't.
No, they ain't good. If they aren't doing these like small, low-hanging fruit, they ain't going for Trey Hendrickson.
Because that's going to take capital as well.
So this is disastrous because we all know the Green Bay Packers needed an infusion of talent.
Where did the Packers get better today?
Nowhere. They
actually, whether you think Josh Myers is good or not, I mean. Doesn't sound like he's coming back. Goody's holding on to Jair Alexander because he's not done with him yet.
Yeah, that's the biggest news.
He's not done with him yet.
The biggest news out of the day is trying to garner anything for Jair Alexander.
He's been calling GMs for trades, and meanwhile they're talking to agents.
Laughing. They're laughing.
Yeah, no, this is actually Packer Nation, KBN Nation. This is actually very disappointing because last year we had a completely different feeling, and we saw the impact of a Josh Jacobs on this football team. We saw the impact of a Xavier McKinney on this football team. You saw when you go and get guys who are coming into their prime, the difference they can make. The Green Bay Packers did not get any difference makers today. Now, could they make a trade for somebody? Potentially. But the way it stands right now at 2:15 here, the Green Bay Packers did not get better, and the Green Bay Packers are no closer to winning the Super Bowl than what they were when they lost that football game in Philadelphia. This is disappointing. It's extremely disappointing because we all know we're not just guys taking the next step away from winning a Super Bowl. We need more talent on this football team.
Do you believe in Goody's plan on Twitter at KBN ESPN?
Is this good news?
And if you say, do you believe in Goody's plan, make the second option. I don't know if he has a plan.
No, this is not good news. So Josh Sweat, as you mentioned, signed a 4-year, $76 million deal with the Arizona Cardinals.
That's like close to what Za'Darius got. I think
just for context, that is $31 million less than Rashawn Gary.
Oh.
They both signed 4-year deals. The extension that Rashawn Gary signed a couple years ago is 4 years, $107 million. This is 4 years, $76 million.
But apparently that's overpaid to the experts.
That is insulting.
On Twitter, at KBN ESPN, do you believe in Goody's plan? Yes or no, I don't believe he actually has a plan.
Wait a minute. Didn't y'all say y'all believed in? Y'all thought Goody was good last Friday?
Well, he said, do you like the Goody way?
Do y'all like the Goody way?
Like I've continued to say, I like the Goody way. I don't love the Goody way. The Goody way is liking the Goody way can say it's going to give you sustain. No,
shut up! You hate the Goody way.
No,
it got you frustrated.
You were the one who were like, yeah, I like the Goody way. I don't love it. So you're just as fraudulent as us.
I'm getting mad right now. I'm getting very upset. I'm getting very upset because I want my team to be great. I really do. And something we have learned is that the Green Bay Packers, Goody's done a better job drafting of late, but the first round we're still missing. We're missing those high-end, high ceiling guys that are actually turning out to be really great football players. That's what the Green Bay Packers are missing. So I can't go into this draft and say, you know what, we didn't get anybody in free agency yet. So when I look to the NFL draft, we're gonna cook there because that's not what we do. No, we're not the Philadelphia Eagles. We don't cook in the draft, right?
A lot of great texts coming in right now on the way the Packers are approaching just football as a whole and how they run their organization, because it is a good time to look at it. It's not that you're just like, oh, the Packers didn't do anything. It's looking around and seeing the teams that are and where they're at in their journey towards trying to become contenders to win a Super Bowl. And then seeing you sort of, as Alex Strofe said on Mr. Irrelevant, being worried that they're going to be left behind. 800-990-3776. Do you believe in Goody's plan, or does he even have a plan? That's the Carbless Talking text line. We're live on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee and at ESPN Madison. I get to your texts. We get to your calls. We continue to refresh Twitter and hopefully see something that is likely not going to happen next.
This is Kyle Broston-Nortman, KBN.
Yeah, see, the thing about me is I like
crazy.
I like crazy. I like a little excitement in my life. I like a little bit of drama.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. With Wilde and Tausch, you won't miss a play.
Romeo. This three-syllable, you have to take the O out of the equation. That's too easy.
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Iota, right? Not one iota.
Iota. Yeah. That's only 4 letters.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
Let's pretend you're a first-time listener to Wilde and Tausch. What the hell is this? They're discussing syllables.
On 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Brad Nortman here with some great news from my friends at Bank 5-9. For a limited time, you can earn as much as 4.8% on one of their CD specials. With 9, 17, and 25-month options, you're sure to find a CD that fits your needs while you earn a great return. It's simply another way Bank 5-9 is making lives better in our communities. Hurry! These high rates won't last long. Check out bank59.com/CD for more details. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee. Did you know that Adam members employ more than 7,500 people? Plus, Adam recently completed their 14th annual Feeding America Change Your Oil promotion. To date, Adam has donated over $875,000, which provided over 2.6 million meals. Start your next car search by finding an Adam member dealer at adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
No shortcuts, no compromises, just the job done right. At Exterior Pros, we don't just meet expectations, we crush them. Every nail, every window, every shingle is a step toward your home's next chapter. From the moment we start until that final reveal, we're committed to making your home better than ever. Quality products and craftsmanship you can count on. Go to the pros for your next project. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274.
Wherever you are in Wisconsin, there's a free and confidential Aging and Disability Resource Center, ADRC, or Tribal Partner Agency. We're here for older adults, adults with disabilities, and your families. ADRCs are a bridge to support for benefits and financial assistance, transportation, in-home care, and more. Get to know your local ADRC and connect with resources today. Call toll-free 1-844-WIS-ADRC or go to findmyadrc.org. Paid for by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Sharon needed legal help. She needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me, how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
This is Kevin Moret from Mentality. Men, you're being robbed of your potential. Research shows a shocking 1% annual decline in testosterone levels. That's why building muscle feels impossible and your confidence is at an all-time low. But here's the truth. You're not alone in this uphill battle. Mentality's physician-directed, FDA-approved treatment doesn't just level the playing field, it restores your body's powerful balance. Our patients experience a documented 30% increase in their testosterone levels. Stop struggling and turn this around. Defy the odds and reclaim your masculine edge at mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Let's talk about home turf. Your lawn is a reflection of your pride, hard work, and even competitive spirit. If you want a yard that makes the neighbors stop and stare, you need the right plan. That's where Weedman Lawn Care comes in. Weedman's lawn care program is kid and pet friendly, uses golf course quality fertilizer, and has an effective weed treatment to dominate any issue. Get a free quote of Weedman's winning formula for your yard at weedman.com and get 50% off your first treatment. That's weedman.com. Weedman for the win.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Another one bites the dust.
You know you're just dancing in your own sorrows by playing this, Alex Stroh. On Twitter at KBN ESPN, do you believe in Brian Gutekunst's plan? Yes, I believe in it, 34%. No, does he have one? 66%. So there's 34% of people that are more patient than us. Maybe they're better people than us.
I'm sorry.
Maybe they're smarter than us. Kyle Bruston Ortman across ESPN Wisconsin. 800-990-3776 is the Carbless talk and text line. Don chimes in, resting on past successes is a recipe for disaster. As Brad can attest, because he's a smart one of the group, in the business world, this happens all the time. We saw this coming with Kmart, Sears, Barnes & Nobles, losing in the end. Ray chimes in. Yeah, Netflix got them there. Goody's pride and ego is the biggest thing holding this team back.
Evolve or die. That's what they say in business school, and like Kmart and Blockbuster and all those. The Green Bay Packers have a system. And that system has served them well for an extended period of time. But this is a new age. And I think that the bedrock of their system is good. It's smart. Draft and develop. But you got to use every single tool in your toolbox to build a team. That means free agency. That means trades. That means young value. That means old value. That means spreading guys across the board to build a cumulative team. If you're only going to say, we only go young, we only go draft, and only very rarely do we accumulate a guy or two in free agency that's a splash guy. I just don't know how you can expect to compete with 31 other teams that are throwing the kitchen sink at any possible way and any possible avenue to become a Super Bowl contender. The Packers are good. They've been good for a long time. The problem is the biggest enemy of great is being good. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to do something a little different, because if the Packers if they don't trade for Trey Hendrickson,
which they won't,
I don't know who's available that is an impact starter. And even Josh Jacobs said on the Super Bowl, hey, do you think you're a player away? I think we're a few players away. The players know.
Yeah.
The players know they are a few players away. And when they see inactivity from the GM, it lends you to question, what exactly are we doing? Because these players don't have a 3 to 5 year plan. They got a 1 year plan. Like, it is a
perform or they can get rid of me.
It's a year-to-year league. So when you don't see reinforcements coming in areas, you're scratching your head. Maybe the buy-in isn't quite there. It's hard to swallow.
And I want to go back to Rob Domofsky on Wilde and Tausch, because this is when it shifted for me. And again, shame on me. I will take full responsibility for believing that day one of free agency would be something bigger. There's still time. I'd love to eat crow. Eating crow, I'm really good at it. I do it a lot. But this was Rob Domofsky. Yeah, I mess up all the time. I'm wrong all the time. It's part of the gig. Yes, Strofe?
I was just playing that because that's the sound I play when you mess up.
Got it. Yes, I do that a lot. Rob Domofsky on Wilde and Tausch about a week ago had something to say along these lines.
The agents told me specifically, this is what he said to me, your team is going to be a player in free agency this year.
Seinfeld music is so good. It's a little painful, but it's good.
Yeah, it's extremely painful.
What did that make you feel, Kyle? I'm not gonna lie, it sunk with me.
No, it did, because we were so hopeful, right? We really expected, like, oh man, they're talking about this during the combine. Rob is getting this information, so the Green Bay Packers are going to be active, and the level of inactivity today is disappointing. Again, and the biggest disappointment we should have as Packers fans is the fact that we're not going to get guys that we think are going to be difference makers right away. We don't know what's to come. It could be fillers.
I'm glad you said that, right? Because the thing that hasn't changed right now, Kyle, is the three big needs that everyone has very much known. The defensive line needs to get better no matter how much you've invested in it. You need it to be better. They're holding on to Jair, apparently to still look at trade options. It doesn't sound like they're holding on to him because he's going to be on the team. And then the wide receiver position. Get running it back with what you have after losing Christian Watson and drafting and hoping that player sparks. I mean, like, you just got to look around and see, is what you're doing in drafting and developing making you competitive? And ultimately, do you trust the person drafting to put together a team that Matt LaFleur can go out there and play chess against these other coaches, or did you just not have the pieces?
Even if you think the Packers should just run it back, like, oh, the Packers don't need to be engaged in high-level free agents or even like day 2 free agents because I like who we got. Well, your wide receiver room actually got worse because you're missing Christian Watson.
Facts.
Right? So you're running it back with 3 guys as opposed to 4. And Christian Watson's a vital piece of that. When it comes to your defensive backs, additionally, you're going to get worse because Jair Alexander at least played half the season, but you're going to be without him most likely. And the D-line has legitimately stayed the exact same, which hasn't been a player for a long time. So even if you say, well, hey, I trust Goody, let's roll it back. You are rolling it back at 2 out of the 3 positions where you are worse because you're losing guys.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out, what is it that Goody knows that the Detroit Lions don't know? Right? Detroit Lions went out and they got themselves a corner. What is it that Goody knows that the Commanders, who, they popped last year, they got a quarterback, so they're trying to capitalize.
Perspective is big here, though. Somehow the Lions were top 5 in cap space because they drafted so well. Some of these teams do have more cap space. It's not that the Packers don't have any cap space. They're top 15. They do have the ability to make moves, but it seems as if it's going to be calculated to the point of not to the degree that we heard that audio from Rob Domofsky thinking, ooh, we're going to get some of these names.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating.
Let's go to Sean in Beaver Dam on the Carbless Talk and Text line. Sean, how are you feeling so far at 2:27, first day of free agency?
Well, I have to say that I was fooled like you guys. I thought Goody, after last year, having 2 successful, transitions into our team, I really thought that he was going to do something this year as well. And it bums me out. I'm bummed out, just like you guys, especially when I saw Devonte signed with the Rams. I really kind of thought that might be a reunion. But then I'm going to tie this into Anastasio with the Brewers. All of a sudden it seems like Wisconsin fans are second-rate citizens, that we don't deserve world championships anymore. I don't understand what's going on. When the Bucks were the last team to do it for us, that says a lot. And when you have strong Packer teams, but yet it's almost like the Brewer owner said, it's not my job to win World Series. We're just gonna have family fun. So these guys are not putting us in positions to win world championships, and it's sad. Thank you for taking my call, guys.
No, I agree. And what's crazy is that we give the Bucks a lot of grief for continuing to chase and get rid. They draft guys and they trade.
You can't take away.
You can't take away the Larry O'Brien trophy.
Or that confetti that you picked up on the floor.
Not at all. You can't take that away. He makes a great point, is that the Green Bay Packers and the Milwaukee Brewers as well, right? Wisconsin sports fans, we're right there on the cusp, right? We're right there. Our teams are close to it, but we don't have people who are saying, let's go all in for it, right? We had it in Milwaukee and they won a championship and they continue to chase that, right? I'd rather be chasing a championship that I just won versus trying to be consistently good and not even feel like you're chasing a championship. You're just trying to catch lightning in a bottle. That's what we have with the Milwaukee Brewers, and what we're seeing from the Green Bay Packers right now is that. And what should frustrate us all is Jordan Love is now entering what should be his prime, right? This should be the championship window. This should be the first, as you talked about it during the regular season, Jordan Love is going to have at least probably 2 windows of opportunities to win a championship, hopefully, for the Green Bay Packers. And we're entering that window right now. Are the Green Bay Packers, is Goody as the general manager, the man that puts all the pieces on this football team, is he doing everything he can to capitalize on the fact that he has a young quarterback with a younger roster that is only a couple pieces away from being really, really competitive? This is not a bad football team. This is a good football team, but they need help, and that's okay. That's what you're supposed to bring in the reinforcements to get better. And Goody this year, he did it last year, and it worked. This offseason so far, he has not done that, and that is just unfortunate.
I think it's
good news about the Packers. Come on.
Yep, nope. How about good news for Chicago Bears fans? As the Bears active once again, Chicago is signing former Falcons Pro Bowl defensive tackle Grady Jarrett to a 3-year, $43.5 million.
Didn't they just sign another defensive end?
They signed
Deo
Odangbo, I believe is how you say
they
it.
signed 3 legitimate high-end offensive linemen and now 2 legitimate high-end D linemen.
Yeah,
5 starters in the trenches.
Can I
Basically, Ben Johnson came in there and said, "You want us to
be
look
like
a resemblance of what we were in Detroit? We're not going to be doing the dance that you guys been doing like clowns for the last 20 years."
And what's been the Bears' biggest flaw over the last several years?
The trenches.
And they said, we're going to go fix that. The best of their ability. Now, it might not work, but at least they're going for it.
At least they are trying to capitalize when they can. That is the whole point, is that they are trying to do something. The Green Bay Packers so far are not trying to do something. And don't tell me to depend on a rookie. It takes time for rookies to develop. Brad, again, he has talked about it. The youngest teams in the NFL, they don't win championships. So, Goody, we can't just keep trying to be the youngest team in the NFL. At some point, you need to continue to bring in talented guys that can help these young guys get over the hump. It's about getting over the hump right now, not about just winning football games. You've already done that. You've shown that you're a playoff caliber team. Bravo. Good job. We went from 9 games to 11 games. But what are you going to do to get us to the next step of getting 13 games, winning the NFC North, and winning the Super Bowl? That is yet to be seen.
So I saw this on the Talking Text line, and I love all of the engagement, but I'm trying my best to keep up with it. Somebody had mentioned on the Carbless Talking Text line, what is draft and develop worth if you have no vets to help with the development?
Powerful.
Kyle, I'm going to deliver finally.
Hey!
The Packers are in the game, but it's not a huge one. The Packers have signed 49ers guard Aaron Banks, expected to sign with the Packers per Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. Could be a starter, as Rappaport notes. Quarterback Jordan Love gets another bodyguard. So Aaron Banks expected to sign with the Packers following the...
So essentially what this means is they're going to move somebody to center and they have more depth at the offensive line.
So probably Elton Jenkins and Banks and last year's first-round pick Jordan Morgan likely will compete for that left guard spot.
So you're basically trying to replace Josh Myers somehow by shifting people around?
Jenkins will likely shift to center.
But this isn't news. We knew that this was something they were going to have to do when they weren't going to sign Josh Myers, right? Like this was a known thing. Another known thing that is bigger than the offensive line that the Packers consistently are able to figure out their offensive line. Yeah, it tailed off at the end of last year, but typically they're always able to figure that out. What they're not able to figure out is how to put together a defensive line that could get pressure on the quarterback with 4. And there hasn't been any movement there. And of course, with Christian Watson out, are you just going to go to the draft in the second round and say, hey, let's continue to grow young at the wide receiver spot? We'll continue to monitor this with Alex Strofe as the KBN Sports Desk guru, monitoring the internets with all of you. 800-990-3776. Are we happy? Sign somebody. Anybody?
We have a pulse.
Yeah,
I'm good with
it. I guess
it.
it's slightly improved the O-line.
You just said, Brad, more bodies in the trenches.
Beep. More bodies in the trenches.
This is good. We have a pulse.
Beep. Continue to monitor. Hey, no pun intended. Next.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman, KBN.
I'm not Mr. Education. I think that's very clear.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not anti-education. I'm not very educated. Is that fair?
That's fair.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Introducing the newest carbless flavor, Mango Vodka. Flavored with the essence of the ripest, freshest mangoes, Carbless Mango Vodka will transport your taste buds to a sunny beach getaway. New flavor, still the same carbless crafted cocktails with 0 carbs, 0 sugars, and only 100 calories. Enjoy a refreshing vodka cocktail without the guilt. 4-packs of the new carbless Mango Vodka cocktail are available in stores near you. Find your bliss today at drinkcarbless.com and escape with every sip.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
It's ESPN Milwaukee's Kyle Walsh for Universal Windows Direct. The tax time sale is going on now, and they'll make your wallet even happier by paying no interest until 2030. Schedule your free in-home estimate today.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Are you ready to shake things up at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee? All you gotta do is toss your rewards card into your favorite slots for drawing entries and a chance to be in the Roll for Riches game show. What's on the table? Oh, just $300K in cash and prizes. Play this March, and Thursday nights, you could get on a winning streak that, frankly, you deserve. Let it ride and Roll for Riches. Only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
UW Credit Union presents the Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org. Here's Ashton Rotman with the UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week is Arrowhead boys wrestler Colin McDowell. The senior McDowell, part of Arrowhead's first team wrestling state final since 2011. Pins in both his quarterfinal and semifinal opponent matches before getting a Tech Fall victory in the WIAA team state title match last weekend against Kaukauna. McDowell, a 25-2 record this season, piling up a 150-24 career record for Arrowhead in his career. And it won't be the last time he wrestles at UW-Madison, as he is committed to the University of Wisconsin to wrestle there upon graduation. Congratulations to this week's UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week, senior wrestler from Arrowhead, Colin McDowell.
She's different and special and loaded with personality.
And there's one more thing, but you can't explain it in words. She's the one.
She's the one.
The one. You know it.
Your friends know it.
The whole world knows it.
We curated a special selection of engagement rings for her.
Can you guess what we call it?
We call it the One Collection by Kessler's.
Because these engagement rings are different.
And special.
And loaded with personality.
And one more thing. But you can't explain it in words.
Engagement rings in the One Collection start at just $725.
But some of them are more.
A lot more.
But we've got you covered.
First, we have 12 months financing at 0%. Or
second, we have 36 months financing at 9.99%, both with approved credit.
Third, we have second chance financing if you need someone to give you a second chance.
And don't forget the Kessler's warranty.
The strongest warranty of any jewelry store in the world.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Think ski season is over? Well, think again. Granite Peak's bringing you Wisconsin's longest ski season, going strong through April 6th. We're talking spring skiing at Wisconsin's largest resort with live music, fireworks, and endless snow across our incredible terrain. Make it a getaway in nearby Wausau, where comfortable lodging and family activities await. Why travel far when the best spring skiing is right here? Book your ski and stay packages today. Visit skigranitepeak.com for lift tickets and lodging packages. Granite Peak, where winter lasts longer.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Welcome back.
Presented without comment. 4 years, $77 million for the new Packers guard, Aaron Banks. Josh Sweat, 4 years, $77 million to the Cardinals. He said without comment, Brad. Ben Brust, Kyle Wallace, Brad Nortman, UKBN Nation at 800-990-3776, the Carbless talk and text line. Liz is more. Alex Strofer on the show. You can see us on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee and at ESPN Madison. With the signing of Mr. Banks, it would, as Jason Wilde, Josh DiMaggio, many others... I don't know why I put Josh DiMaggio with Jason Wilde in the same sentence. Rasheed Walker, likely to be your left tackle. Mr. Banks, not Adam from Mighty Ducks, likely your left guard.
I like you calling him Mr. Banks.
Mr. Banks, 4 for 77. We're calling him $77 million guard.
He got paid.
You better call him Mr. Banks. He's 6'5", 325 pounds.
Mr. Banks, please block good, please. I respect you.
Only allowed one sack last year in San Francisco.
I mean, that left side of their offensive
36
line.
pressures the year before. 0 sacks. That's a lot of pressure.
I mean, I will say, top guard on the market, seemingly. O-line improved.
I just didn't expect us at 240 to be walking through the reshuffled Packers offensive line.
I guess. Well, no,
because I was trying to get it's going to be likely Walker, Banks, Elton Jenkins over to center, Sean Ryan at right guard, and Zach Tom at right tackle. Now, the interesting part to me is Jordan Morgan is a first-round pick, and it was crazy how quickly they shut the idea down of him even competing at left tackle. It was like week 1 of camp, and Jason Wilde, everyone, Rob Domofsky were like, yeah, that's Rasheed Walker's job. And then so they split some time during the season at guard with Jordan Morgan. Like, that's a first-round pick. Mm-hmm. Is he going to start? Is he just going to be a backup? I mean, like, that's coveted draft capital that you don't want just being a guy splitting time or waiting.
No.
Are you mad at me?
Jordan Morgan shouldn't be competing for a starting spot as a first-round pick. You don't compete for a first-round pick. Like, usually they come in, they're supposed to start, they're going to learn on the job, but he's supposed to be starting. He is supposed to be starting. I don't know what is in his future for his career, but this is disappointing because, again, I think this is a good signing. Like, I'm frustrated about other pieces, but it's a good signing because it solidifies the offensive line and protects Jordan Love. And the offensive line wasn't bad last year, but getting better, I can't be mad about that. But Jordan Morgan needs to be starting somewhere. The fact that he is going to compete with Sean Ryan or compete maybe with Rasheed Walker is disappointing. And it's not a knock on him. It's a knock on the fact that there were other positions that
he
we
was
had.
hurt.
He wasn't hurt going into the season.
No.
He might have did get hurt early in training. All I know is early on in camp, he did not win the starting job.
It was very quick to be. You're not going to be left tackle.
And then it was
he was drafted, and they were like, he wants to be a left tackle. He's like, I want to be a left tackle.
He did say that, but then he's in a rotation with Sean.
Good, bad, or ugly?
Good. Be good.
Well, I have 2 pieces of information for you. I just want to bring back something we talked about a little bit earlier. So 4 years, $77 million for Aaron Banks. That is $600,000 more than the Cardinals paid for Josh Sweat.
You must have missed the presented without comment to start the segment.
Oh, I missed that. You're right. And then the other thing, the Packers, former Packers defensive tackle TJ Slayton has agreed to a 2-year deal with the Cincinnati Bengals.
How much he get?
$15.1 million.
Oh wow, 2 years? It's pretty good money for him, actually. The way I look at it, yes, this is a good addition. The O-line got better. It is incredibly unnerving that Jordan Morgan is not starting in line to start. He's going to be your 6th option of 5 starting guys.
First-round pick.
That is a problem, especially when other first-round guys were taken after.
Especially when Lucas Van Ness was the guy before. He didn't even start.
So I think the thing is for me, and like, we hear some people, chatting on the Carlos Talking text line, the YouTube chat. There's no doubt that the Packers got better in the O-line. But the thing is, like, if you're taking the ACT and you're nailing English, you're nailing math, you're nailing science, but you never get better at reading comprehension, and you don't even...
Why are you talking to me directly?
I'm looking at you. If you don't even put any time and get into getting better at reading comprehension, you're not going to get in the 30s. You're not going to get a 35. It's the same thing with the Green Bay Packers. They reinvest in certain areas in the offensive line. That's great. I think the O-line got better, and that should be applauded. But you're never going to be a Super Bowl champion if you don't reinvest in those areas you're struggling in. That's D-line, wide receiver, and cornerback. I'd like to see those be addressed. Good signing. I'd like to see those be addressed.
I guess
it's crazy.
I consider myself stupid again because as I was sitting in a production room that we have here in these offices with Alex Strofe, Goody was asked at the Combine about the wide receiver position. And of course he's going to say he's open to looking at everything. But the main takeaway for me was him talking about how you can get guys right away earlier in these drafts that can make a strong impact on your football team. And it's almost like, I agree, but don't we got to look at ourselves in a mirror a little bit? Like, unless he thinks Jaden Reed is going to be the consistent star that he was in the first half of last year, you don't have Christian Watson for the start of the season. Romeo Doubs is very reliable, but he's not, and he's never been Mr. Boom every week. He's kind of a reliable, dependable 10 to 12 yard catch guy, safety blanket. Dontavion Wicks is a great route runner, but again, the potential is still just the word potential. Tucker Kraft, we know he's going to be great, but this isn't about like believing in our guy. Like, this is the hubris again. I go back to Goody just loves his guys. He loves his guys, and he loves the idea of drafting and developing because it's all he knows. And to your point, Brad, at some point, stepping out of that comfort zone is going to be massive if they want to continue to move this franchise forward.
I just don't know how you compete with the likes of the Lions, the Eagles, the Commanders. All these teams are already better than the Packers, and they're already selling out to try to at least address their issues and try to improve in different areas. I just look at the Green Bay Packers, and unless they do something mega, something of seismic proportions, they're just going to be the same team they did last year, and that was the 7th seed that lost in the wild card.
I guess I'm just so confused. How is it that we all watched last season? And Goody's intelligent. This is what he's been doing for his entire career, right? He's been evaluating talent, watching football players. How is it that we all watch and we come away thinking the Green Bay Packers need to get a receiver, they need to get a corner, they need to get a D lineman as the top 3 priority? How is it that we all missed that offensive line was going to be Goody's priority? What did he see that we didn't see?
He just values that. He values O-line above all else, even if it means another area.
So is he telling us, is he saying that the offensive line is a more urgent need than the receiving room? The receiving room, as Brad already said.
Here's the thing. I like investing in the offensive line. I won't get mad at investing in the offensive line because you literally just signed Jordan Love and you need to protect him. The second half of the year, the offensive line wasn't as good. So the idea of overpaying at wide receiver is something that's talked about many times throughout franchises that continue to win Super Bowls. Like the Patriots, that was their thing. The Chiefs, they always just cycle guys in and out. I know they have had Travis Kelce, but overpaying at wide receiver, I'm going to come to grips that obviously I'm okay with not getting DK Metcalf for a second-round pick in a 30 year.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
But the rest of the wide receiver market outside of Devonte, is there anyone you would have been happy with?
No. What good is it to have Jordan Love back there if ain't nobody getting separation? If ain't nobody open? Huh? What is like? I'm serious. Like I am not knocking this because I'm all about protecting Jordan Love, but you have to get him some weapons. Like you absolutely. That's how you.
Sounds like it's gonna be through the draft, Kyle. And you have to decide with yourself if you're okay with drafting wide receivers and watching them continue to grow together.
April 27th, I think, is day 2 of the draft. If come April 27th and I see day 2 of the draft, and I don't see a wide receiver taken in round 1 or round 2 by the Green Bay Packers, I'm gonna be ready to choke somebody. I'm gonna put hands on somebody.
Record scratch. Let's re-say that one.
Okay, I'm gonna be ready to Latrell Sprewell, PJ Carlissimo somebody. because at this point, okay, fine. We gonna go through the draft.
Record scratch to give him another chance. What are you gonna be ready to do?
I don't know, Homer, Bart Simpson. Look, y'all not going to get me to say that's what I'm going to be ready to do. Because at that point, if the Green Bay Packers, you have to invest in a high value.
They don't have to.
No. The Packers have to.
Because you know what they also need is a cornerback and an edge rusher, an interior defensive line.
At this point, the pecking order, at this point, it's corner and wide receiver. Like the pass rush, hey, if we gotta cook up some genius Jeff Hafley, we've seen the Packers do it in spurts last year. If they don't add to the pass rush, well, I'll be upset, yes, but I can deal with it. We can't walk into next season not drafting a high-end wide receiver. I said before, I'll run it back with this room with an addition in the first or second round for a wide receiver. But if you're drafting a guy in the 5th round, expecting him to be like, Tay Wicks, oh, well, then it's over. You got to get somebody who can be an immediate impact. You have to. And he talked about it. He said these guys nowadays, they come off the draft and they're better prepared to be an impact player day 1. So if the draft is the route he wants to go, then fine. But make sure you're doing it in the 1st or 2nd round, because anything outside the 2nd round, you playing with fire.
But here's the problem with relying on the draft in order to get your guys to fill legitimate starting roles. Because if the Packers don't do anything, edge rusher, cornerback, wide receiver, then you're going into the draft likely going to reach on a guy that maybe there's somebody better there if you address it with Devonte Adams, if you address it with somebody that's a reliable starter. You go into the draft not in desperate need of a guy. You are not putting yourself in a position to reach, because that's exactly what's going to happen. We're not going to go into deep draft analysis. What everyone is saying is the wide receiver isn't great year for the draft either. So the job gets exceedingly harder with removing options.
There is still time, but I think the biggest thing that needs to be ironed out before the draft is one of those 3 position groups at least needs to have a player signed. right? Wide receiver,
Yes.
cornerback, or defensive end. Because to Brad's point, if you go into the draft and you have these staring needs, then you're just looking at those positions and those positions only, and you put yourself in a little bubble of like, all right, these are the positions we have to go after now, whether we like these guys as much as we think we do. We need them out of necessity.
Because what if there's a run? What if there's a run on wide receivers? What if there's a run on cornerbacks? Then you might enter your pick and be in trouble.
Is wide receiver 1 on the roster right now?
No.
800-990-3776. Do you believe in Goody's plan? Does he have a plan? Is wide receiver 1 on the roster this year? And what the hell is Matt LaFleur thinking right now? 800-990-ESPN, the Carbless Talking text line. Reacting with you on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee and at ESPN Madison. We're back soon. I just saw a sign Rasul Douglas. I don't know. Seems to me as if Goody doesn't really get along well
Goody
with
ain't
guys. Goody doesn't want guys that he
spin the block. He don't spin the block. He's a smart man. Listen, spin the block in real life.
Did you say circle the block?
Goody doesn't circle the block.
No, he don't spin the block.
Brad. We all know you've been in a committed relationship for about 25 years.
Yeah. Spin the block can sometimes be good.
Us regular folk have once in our lifetime spun the block. We'll be back.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman.
Things ever happened to you from a breakup?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, no.
I don't want to talk about it.
You brought it, so I had to ask.
I ain't gonna put my old shorties on blast, but
why not? They're old shorties.
I've had some.
They're old shorties.
My parents listen to this show. I don't want my parents to know the craziness that I've dealt with that they son been a part of.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. With Wilde and Tausch, you won't miss a play.
Romeo. This 3-syllable, you have to take the O out of the equation. That's too easy.
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Iota, right? Not one iota.
Iota. Yeah. That's only 4 letters.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
Let's pretend you're a first-time listener to Wilde and Tausch. What the hell is this? They're discussing syllables.
On 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Hey, it's ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman, and you may be wondering if you are a good candidate for QC Kinetics. If you're having pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulders, or your back, maybe you're having trouble sleeping or doing the things that you love doing, then yes, you could be a great candidate for QC Kinetics and the regenerative medicine. I know when I went to QC Kinetics and saw everything they have with my own 2 eyes, I was blown away at the tools in their toolkit to make sure that you get your life back. PRP, platelets, plasma, and they have so much they can do to give you your life back. From all the testimonials I've heard and from what I've seen with my own 2 eyes, it is unbelievable to see the before and after impact of QC Kinetics and their regenerative medicine. So don't wait any longer. Finally, get your life back as spring is unfolding. Get your free consultation today with QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
Hey, Bucks fans, enjoy Michelob Ultra at Champs Americana in Brookfield, the Sandlots of Salem in Salem Lakes, Kelly's Bleachers Big Bend, Magoo's on the Mound in Milwaukee, and Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill in Pewaukee. Michelob Ultra, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
For Jenna, helping others find joy is so rewarding. It's why we love to do what we do.
I enjoy simplifying the process for the customer, taking the time to listen, and finding the right solution.
Randy understands that everyone's situation is different, so we don't just slap together cookie-cutter solutions.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
Jake arrives at your free in-home consultation with pre-prepared materials to fully envision your dream Pella build.
We're with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Whether you're working with Ryan or another Pella consultant, we don't go away after the sale. We're ready with anything you may need before, during, and after installation. And right now, at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
American Family Insurance is a lot like Captain America. He protects the world.
It's just doing my job.
And we help protect your dreams with amazing auto and home coverage. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com. And see Marvel Studios' Captain America: Brave New World.
Suit up. We need to move.
In theaters February 14th. This film is not yet rated.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hungry? Quick Trip's got you. No dinner plans? Food's here, and it's a pizza party. Don's pizzas are 4 for just $10. Choose from a variety of toppings. So easy and delicious. Get plenty to eat and keep your wallet happy too.
Food's here, and it's ready when you are. Quick Trip isn't just convenient, it's here to make your life easier and better.
Fuel up at your ultimate destination for snacks and meals that hit the spot. Only at Quick Trip.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
In free agency, the Packers made a move. Aaron Banks is expected to sign a 4-year, $77 million contract from the San Francisco 49ers. He was their left guard. Not the bingo board pick that we had, but that's a lot of moolah. That's a lot of dollars, I might add.
It is. For a position group you felt pretty good about. Now they did fall apart a little bit at the end of the season.
Well, hang on now. This is from Brian Gutekunst. Per Rob Domofsky on Twitter X, Packers GM Brian Gutekunst said at the Combine of the offensive line, quote, "We're always going to continue to address the offensive line because there's just never enough of them. The Aaron Banks signing gives them the ability to move one of the guards, Elton Jenkins or Sean Ryan, to center."
I mean,
yeah, again,
it's a pack away. It's good. It's good.
If Sean Ryan turns
the
out
Packers
to be
are good.
It's
center,
good.
it'd be nice.
It's good.
Yeah, no, it's a good move. Nobody's going to complain about protecting your asset at quarterback. But if you can't get a pass rush, if you can't stop the pass because you don't have the corners, if guys can't get open, it all is for naught. It doesn't matter. Like, a great offensive line is fantastic. Yeah, let's run the ball down people's throat. Maybe that's what we're going to do. But if you're in a high-scoring game where your defense can't make a stop, your offense is going to get exhausted on the field.
I like this on YouTube because we had a poll on Friday for those who aren't with us. We had asked over under 0.5 players signed by the Green Bay Packers over the age of 30. What's Mr. Banks? How old's Mr. Banks?
Well, good question.
27.
There you go.
That's in the sweet spot. He loved him a 24 to 27-year-old.
You know what's interesting?
The angry casual fan. I'm sick of people telling me 30-year-olds are useless while LVN rots away on the bench.
I mean, you can't argue with that. You really can't. And, like, just all of these moves, they feel so quintessential Green Bay Packers. Because even with the Strove, have you heard, what's a common report when these guys sign? It's how long, total value, and guaranteed money.
Yep.
Have you heard guaranteed money?
I have not yet, but
I haven't seen it either, but I definitely do want to know.
I'm guessing it's a year, maybe two, and then Packers get all the options, right? Like, and that's maybe one of the reasons why guys want to sign with
Andrew Brandt, who obviously did a lot of contract stuff for the Packers back in the 90s and early 2000s, tweeted a lot of times the Packers, it's 1 year and then we'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Like 1 year guaranteed and we'll see where we're at.
Here's
and
the
that's
problem.
likely what they did here.
Andrew Brandt shouldn't be able to know everything about the Packers contracts because that was from 30 freaking years ago.
That's a good point.
That's very true. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed at all. But it's, hey.
Go ahead. Go ahead, spin it.
Listen. I wanted something and he gave me something. And not what I was asking for. It's like a Christmas present that you get.
Well, you got a Christmas gift that you didn't want, and you told your significant other, said, take it back.
That's true.
She
did give me a lunchbox, and I did know. I appreciate the thought and effort and what it can do for my life. But there's still more pressing needs that the Green Bay Packers need to address, and I fully expect him to address it some way. Again, at this point now, what's sad is now I'm picking and choosing what's more important. That's where I'm at now. It's like, all right, I guess we're not going to get this one. So
I guess hang on.
That's a hard cap league.
As we're all going through this together. Here's what I'm coming to on the signing of Mr. Banks for $77 million. What are the Packers so damn good at in the draft?
Drafting O-linemen.
They don't even need to do it in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
They find an offensive lineman. I mean, you name offensive lineman X. Where was Zach Tom drafted?
I think it's 4th round pick.
Mid-round, yeah.
Yeah.
Rasheed Walker was
7th round pick. Sean Ryan,
Josh Myers and I think Corey Linsley are both third round picks. So it just seems interesting that this is the year that you spend $77 million on a guard.
It was a problem in that playoff game.
I hear you.
It was a problem because of depth. Strofe, hopefully this is good news.
It was a problem.
I think, no, you know what we need to do? It's breaking news if there's a Packers player. Otherwise, we'll stick with the sports
But I do
feel like it should be worth mentioning a team that was in the NFC Championship game just added a 5-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman as the Texans have traded Laramie Tunsil to the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, because they're trying to win.
Wow.
They don't have the opportunity to win often.
That's a big trade.
That's really big.
That's a big trade.
That's the only reason I want to get that.
That's a team
it's
who's
good.
trying to win.
No, I'm saying I like if you do see anything Packers moving forward, I do want the breaking news. The full breaking news one.
You know, it's interesting. You said that offensive line was an issue in the playoff game. The playoff game was against the Eagles, who had a terrorizing D-line. And like again, it's just like one of those things that like if you're going to be a Super Bowl contender, I think of any Super Bowl champion Packer team, dude, they had great D-line. And, you know, you need to fortify both. But
how do you stop a terrorizing defensive line? Have a terrorizing offensive line.
Thanks, Dro.
That's next level.
Nailed that one. How do you stop a terrorizing offensive line?
That defensive
Not line. Rashawn, Gary, LVN, and Kenny Clark.
Good point. Great point, Ben.
Those are our best, huh?
All right. Here's what's going to go on here. It's Kyle Bruston Dortmund across ESPN Wisconsin. Alex Strofe running the show. Does Goody have a plan? Is anything going to happen? Do we have a little stick guy? And we need a stick sounder, like, you know, do something stick guy that Madison Hayes 24 on Instagram put up on our socials. We need a sound effect of like, do something, please.
Well, they've done something now.
Yeah, again, one that I'm now questioning because they've done such a great job of continuing to build their roster through the draft, not using high leverage money or first or second round picks. Just something they've been able to figure out. So in a year in which, like you mentioned, Strofe, Josh Sweat went for $77 million. Mr. Banks, Aaron Banks, goes for $77 million to the Packers. In 2 minutes, I want Kyle Wallace to actually tell me how he feels. Because I feel like you got angry, but then you were like, I'm going to stay calm. What the hell's going through your mind, dude?
I'm at Six Flags right now.
In 2 minutes, we ride the roller coaster. That is Kyle Wallace.
Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center is hosting another Scramble tournament with $1,000 in cash prizes available. Hey ESPN Milwaukee, this is Gary Ellerson, and Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center invites you to play in a 2-man scramble at TPC Sawgrass, all from their comfortable golf simulators. Grab a friend and sign up today at WisconsinIndoorGolfCenter.com. The tournament costs $120 per pairing and is happening now through March 31st. Your winter chance to play TPC Sawgrass awaits. WisconsinIndoorGolfCenter.com.
That weird Wisconsin weather is here. Snow one day, sun the next. But you can always count on Tsunami Express to keep your car clean. With 6 locations across southeastern Milwaukee, Tsunami Express helps fight that salt, grime, and mud with powerful vacuums and state-of-the-art wash technology. Technology like their best-in-class T2 with graphene for a long-lasting shine and protection. Stop at any Tsunami Express location and get your first wash free when you sign up online at TsunamiExpress.com. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat. Terms and conditions apply. First wash free for new members only.
Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. Over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Simple to play. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states. The app is really easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do, pick more or less on a few player stats for your shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Combine your favorite basketball players with players from baseball and hockey, esports, and much, much more. Second half of the basketball season is here, and the race to the playoffs is heating up on Prize Picks, the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. And don't miss your chance to cash in as the league's best fight for playoff positioning. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Hey, this is Homer. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
a locally owned Good Karma brand station. Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. This is Kyle Brust and Northman, KBN on ESPN Wisconsin. Here's Kyle Wallace, Ben Brust, and Brad Northman.
I still feel the same way that I do to start the show. Like, this is on me. I'm an idiot. I expected way too much after.
Holy cow, I'm a tool.
I'm a tool. I'm a tool. My name is Ben Brust, and I'm a tool. Kyle Wallace, Brad Nortman are here with me. Kyle's justifying everything that Goody does to make himself feel better, and Brad Nortman is a Super Bowl 50 runner-up, so he knows what second-place moves are. Alex Strove's running the show. UKBN Nation at 800-990-3776. That is the Carbless Talk and Text line. And see us on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee and at ESPN Madison. The reason why I say I'm a tool and why I'm an idiot is because I've been doing this for 8 years. And 2019 was the first year in which in free agency, they went and got Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Billy Turner, and Adrian Amos. It had been 5 years before Goody was very aggressive. And he did a swell job. Where you got to credit where credit is due. Josh Jacobs was awesome. Jordan Love was hurt. They couldn't figure out how to get the play action going with Jacobs and Love, whatever. But ultimately, like, Jacobs became the workhorse of the offense. Xavier McKinney was exactly what Jeff Hafley wanted and needed for the defense. But to think that the splashes would be as big in terms of, like, the positions we were eyeing, like in terms of cornerback, wide receiver, and defensive end, is foolish of me to sit here and think that, like, because Rob Domofsky said on Wilde and Tausch that they were going to be active in free agency, that it was going to be all the pieces that I want them to be active in free agency for.
I guess they're active, and I guess
no, but that's what I'm saying. It's not to the positions that we all talked about.
Yeah,
and I said this last week. I was like, you know what? I'm getting worried. We're doing all this talk about DK Metcalf, Devonte Adams, and I have a feeling we just wasted a month of everyone's lives.
Oh, yeah, we definitely
ourselves
Goody's
included.
Laughing.
Yeah, he's like,
Laughing
you idiots.
away.
You idiots. I think Alex Strofe and Jason Wilde, just for clarity, were like, I think Jason said this with us. He wanted to know. Like, he did. He was like, you know, I wanted to know from Goody, like, you know, Devontae's open to it.
Nope.
Goody?
Nope.
Didn't hear anything. He could have saved all of our fans some time, into prognosticating baloney.
Well, and I think what's surprising is Goody's words this offseason, both at the end of the season at the Combine, seem to have...
Sorry, Brad, he said prognosticating.
Yeah, good call. Can't let him slip on that one. It seemed as that Goody did have a sense of urgency that he said himself was, we need to have a sense of urgency to win a championship and be a contender. It seems like strange word choice when your own actions are not following up on it. I can't blame Goody if he gets outbid for a guy like, you know, Devonte Adams or some of these guys in the free agent market. But if you're going to say we need to start competing for championships, in order to do that, you need dudes. You need a team full of dudes. And if you don't have them, you need to go find them and get them. I just think it's strange. The inactivity it's not congruent with his words of we are a championship team in a championship window, and it's time we start competing for one of those.
Yeah, and when I look at it, I would have preferred to have, I know, again, shout out to Goody, because when I challenge you, Goody, I also praise you, is that last year you signed one of the top running backs in free agency and one of the top safeties in free agency, and it looks like, again, this year you signed one of the top guards in free agency. So I will give you your flowers for doing that. But when I think about this, I would have preferred still to have Devonte Adams over Aaron Banks. I would have. Like, I know Aaron Banks is probably going to come in, be a plug-and-play starter, but the difference is this. I had enough confidence in the O-line going into next year. We're going to have 5 guys, probably draft somebody. We're going to have 6 offensive linemen at some point. But we still don't know what we're going to do at receiver. I would much have preferred having Devonte Adams and Aaron Banks on this.
And that's that goes to my point, is like, it's not that they still didn't have a chance to get more depth at offensive line. They could have drafted another offensive lineman at some point in the draft, because that's what the Packers have done traditionally really well at. And so you could have brought in somebody to make it better for Jordan Love. You believe in the offensive line that you have, knowing that you still wanted to see Jordan Morgan step up into a starting role, bring in more competition at a spot where you feel like you needed more depth in the draft. But instead, again, it's hard. I'm not going to be the one that sits here and is like, you know what? it was stupid to, bring in an offensive lineman because the amount of times that Brian Bulaga, who will join us at 4:45, and Mark Tauscher, Packer Hall of Famer, will join us tomorrow as well. The amount of times that I end up saying them, you know what? It's boring to talk about offensive linemen, but they help you win. They help you win Super Bowls. But the problem is only one side of the trenches feels good. The other side had 20% of the cap invested in it, and it stunk. And they needed to be used in a way where Jeff Hafley, the new defensive coordinator, had to be like, oh, we're gonna send 4 guys, but we're gonna bring one back and send a linebacker. Or they blitzed more than they did.
Your biggest saving grace for the fact that your pass rush is trash, you're not going to get home with 4. Listen, at this point, based off what's available, and I doubt the Green Bay Packers draft anybody that's going to come in and make an instant impact. It'll be a miracle if they draft somebody in the first round that was a rush in and all of a sudden popped and became great. Your saving grace is that this Green Bay Packers team was able to get by last year being creative, right? And you're going to have Edgerrin Cooper, who was a good pass rusher last year. He's coming back this year with a year more experience. You have hopefully a healthy Quay Walker, he's able to get in there. He doesn't always make the play, but another guy that has the ability to get after a quarterback or just make plays, right? Or be in the vicinity to make some plays, and he can tackle around the line of scrimmage. So the fact that you already have been able to be creative amongst your scheme and getting pressure, at least you can repeat that, and guys are going to feel more comfortable because they're year 2. So again, if I'm going to look for a bright side, the bright side is the fact that we're going in year 2 of guys being in this defensive scheme, and also Jeff Hafley having these guys and understanding what their strengths and their weaknesses are, and try to put them in a position to be as successful as possible. So that is kind of the saving grace, is that we're going into year 2 and bringing back a lot of the same guys.
All right, I believe Goody said at the Combine, you need to get home with 4. You need to. And he hasn't done anything to improve that. I think you said earlier, Kyle.
He's a liar.
You said earlier, Kyle, that the disappointing thing is this is a good team. It's not like they're far from contending for a Super Bowl. This isn't an 8-8 team or 8-9 team, I guess. This is a team who is knocking on the door. And when you see just a few pieces away and they're not addressed, it can drive you insane. So good signing on the O-line. You want a good O-line. You're at your franchise quarterback in a running game. I applaud it. You got to address the needs, though.
Details from Alex Strofe.
It is a 4-year, $77 million deal, as we know.
$48 million.
Well, we don't know guaranteed, but $63 million is in the first 3 years of the deal. So that leaves only $14 million for that final year.
That's what the Packers do.
So front-loading
most recently, front-loading and not putting themselves in a bad spot at the back end.
So he must be getting paid.
I bet your guess is in the wheelhouse, but I will keep searching. I don't think the guaranteed amount has been reported quite yet.
Jason Wilde is going to be joining us next. I'm curious because I know he was very on this Devonte story. He had reported that Devonte was open to coming back to the Packers. I don't think we've talked about it enough that it is so egregious that Goody did not even reach out, according to Jason Wilde's report on Channel 3000 this morning, that there was no contact between the Green Bay Packers and Devonte Adams. And that's malpractice. If one of the greatest wide receivers of all time said he's open to coming back, and he showed at the back end of the season what he had left in his tank, and you needed that position, and he could have met it. Jason and I were not in lockstep many times, but we were in lockstep about Devonte. I'm curious to see what Jason Wilde thinks on the other side. This is Kyle Brust-Nortman across ESPN Wisconsin. Next, Jason Wilde.
This is Kyle Brust-Nortman, KBN.
And make sure everyone's tuning in when we do this, because y'all's faces are going to be like,
it better be sweet.
If you think I'm going to act like that for oatmeal, you're outside your damn
You've never
mind.
had Brad Nortman's oatmeal.
It's not Quaker, is it?
Chocolate chip pancakes with butter
organic.
and syrup that make me go, oh, baby, oatmeal ain't going to do that.
You'll be surprised. I'm going to do a variety.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Starting off with an accident northbound on 43 right about at Keith. Just about ready to be cleared out of the way. Unfortunately, though, it was blocking a lane for the longest time. So now we've got basically a parking lot coming out of the Marquette interchange all the way up to Keith. So give yourself tons of extra time. Westbound 94, just a quick tap of the brakes right through the stadium interchange. Eastbound, just a quick brake check as well, but nothing major at this point. Traffic is brought to you by Fisco Auto Body. Call Fisco Auto Body to help with all body repair needs. Fisco, Fisco, Fisco. And checking the TMJ4 Storm King forecast. Tonight, mostly clear, breezy, mild, a low of 40. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, cooler, breezy with a high of 44. Early, then in the upper 30s by the afternoon. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
While the Indiana underdogs may have won in the movie,
if you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, in my book, we're going to be winners.
those Hollywood fairy tales don't work when we're in town.
Damian Lillard lets it fly again, and he is locked in right now. Damian Lillard.
The Bucks head to Indiana to take on the Pacers.
4 3-pointers.
Our Bucks radio game day coverage starts tonight at 6. We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
Kevin Moret here for Mentality. Listen up, gentlemen. You're fighting an unfair battle. Studies show testosterone levels in men have plummeted by 25% in just 2 decades. That's why you're struggling with energy, muscle, and drive. But here's a game changer. Mentality's FDA-approved treatments boost testosterone by 30% on average. Imagine reclaiming the vitality your grandfathers had. Picture turning heads, dominating your career, and feeling unstoppable again. Don't settle for today's normal. Seize the day at mentalityhealth.com/radio. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Kyle Walls for Universal Windows Direct. Tax season is here, and what better way to reinvest in your home than with brand new energy-efficient windows? During Universal Windows Direct tax time sale, you can save big now. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and there's no limit. Need 4? You only pay for 2. And here's something that will make your wallet even happier. Pay no interest until 2030. Schedule your free in-home estimate or visit universalwindowsdirect.com, and like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
So many of our youth carry unimaginable burdens. Anger, depression, even thoughts of suicide. At Rawhide Youth Services, we recognize their pain. We help them find hope and healing. For those that need a second chance at life, we refuse to give up on them. Please be a part of our life-saving work. When you donate your used vehicle to Rawhide, you're helping change the lives of countless youth in our communities. Go to rawhide.org/donate and help them realize a brighter future today.
At Citizens Bank, community banking is you, growing your business with a partner who gets it. It's you, buying your first home with a lender who makes it easy. It's you, building a future with savings that work just as hard as you. And it's us, working together to strengthen our community. Because at Citizens Bank, community banking means you plus us. Visit us at citizensbankwi.bank. Citizens Bank is member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Men's wedding bands made from whiskey barrels and meteorites.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
This is Kyle Bruston-Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. The Wolf of Wall Street was on the other day when I was flipping through channel. Great family film.
3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year.
I'm a naturally inquisitive person.
Holding everybody accountable.
If you feel better about that, I'm happy to do so.
Jason Wilde is on Kyle Bruston-Nortman.
You heard the big voice guy joining us here on Kyle Bruston-Nortman across ESPN Wisconsin. Is Jason Wilde? Listen to Jason 9 to noon across these various stations on Wilde and Tausch. Jason, how are you?
I'm great, guys. How are you?
We are bobbing and weaving through the active free agency today. The Packers finally landed a punch in Aaron Banks, the guard from San Francisco. 4 years, $77 million. It's one of those things where, you know, the game is won in the trenches. That's a lot of money. Now, my question to you is, the only thing I can ponder as to what I maybe would have done differently, because it's hard to complain about bolstering your offensive line, which didn't have the greatest second half of the season for the Packers. Does it feel like they're really good at drafting linemen? And so maybe utilizing that money elsewhere? Or is it just, hey, the way the season ended, we need to get better? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think they're definitely not deep enough for one, but remember, all these moves are not just made with 1 year in mind. So not only are they watching Josh Myers walk out the door, as Bill Huber reported, but 3 of the other 4 remaining starters are free agents next year. Sean Ryan, Zach Tom, Rasheed Walker. And, I don't know what 2025 will bring. I don't know if Rasheed Walker will play at a ultra high level that will make him worth re-signing, but they're definitely not going to pay him top of market left tackle money. I don't know if Sean Ryan will continue his ascent because he went from being a first-year total bust who got himself suspended for performance-enhancing substances that did not apparently enhance his performance to being a solid starter and a guy that they like. And then obviously Zach Tom, he did not have the season he expected to or wanted to. I think the torn pec really affected him, but he's the one of those three that I would think will get extended out of the three. So you've got a lot of decisions there, and you also have to figure out where you're going to play Jordan Morgan. So this signing obviously means that somebody is moving to center. I think it's probably Elton Jenkins. It could be Sean Ryan. But they're thinking both short-term and long-term. When you give a guy $63 million out of the $77 in the first 3 years of the deal, you are paying premium dollars, and they clearly didn't feel like their offensive line was good enough last year if they were willing to invest to this degree at a not sexy but certainly important position.
Yeah, Jason, just hitting the Twitter X world. Spotrac just tweeted, former Niners guard Aaron Banks agreed to a 4-year...
That's you, Jason, or the dog?
That was a butterfly that flew by the window. We needed to bark at it. So.
Those butterflies will get you on a beautiful day like this. 4-year, $77 million contract for the Packers for Aaron Banks, but only the signing bonus is guaranteed at signing. Certainly the Green Bay Packer way, as they described it. And speaking of the Green Bay Packer...
How big is the signing bonus?
Would have gave it if we had it.
Did not say. Speaking of the Green Bay Packer way...
$63 million.
Going young is Goody's MO right now, and that seemed to preclude Devonte Adams from finding his way back to the green and gold. Now, you wrote an unbelievable article on Channel 3000. Check out Jason Wilde and all of his new writings on Channel 3000. But describe for our listeners what you know about the Devonte Adams situations. I want to know, were you surprised that the Green Bay Packers never even reached out? And if you know... was anyone in the Devonte Adams camp surprised that they didn't even reach out, if you even know that?
Yeah, I think Devonte Adams was definitely surprised that they didn't reach out at all, and probably a little disappointed. I would also say that, I think we've been kind of shampooed and conditioned in this idea that a 32-year-old player is old, and that's just not true. Just Goody thinks that. Like, obviously, the fine people of the Los Angeles Rams don't think that's old, because you don't give $46 million with 26 of it guaranteed to a guy that you think is old and on the verge of being washed. So, and they moved on from a guy who I think is technically chronologically younger, but has had injury issues, and that's Cooper Kupp. So, look, this is how Goody is. The thing about it is, I don't think we should have been surprised, but I will admit that I was. I always thought that it made way more sense than DK Metcalf, and then there were the reports that indicated the Packers were in on Metcalf. Now, I talked to two people that I don't think lie to me, who said that the Packers never made an offer. They never pursued DK Metcalf. Now, is it possible that that's a little bit of revisionist history because they were not the team that got him, and you don't want the guys that are in your wide receiver room thinking you pursued a new number one wide receiver and now you didn't get him? I suppose that's possible, but I never thought DK Metcalf kind of fit the suit either. Like, he's certainly a downfield threat, but he also seems very much like a me guy from what I have gathered. And in Seattle, he obviously was very productive, but he didn't strike me as a guy that I wanted to give $150 million to if I was Goody. So that made way more sense to me that they were out on him. I just don't get the Devonte piece. I really don't. I thought it made a lot of sense. Now, I don't think they were interested in, $23 million a year. Maybe they were interested at 20, but they weren't interested at all. That's the bottom line, and that was my frustration about talking about this. And I know
I just brought this up, Jason. I was like, for all the last 2 weeks that this has been happening, and Devonte being open to being with the Packers, I was like, I'm pretty sure Jason came on these airwaves and just wanted to find out if there was just anything going on, so we couldn't waste your time, our fans' time, and here we are. As day one comes around, we find out that they didn't even reach out. It's blasphemy.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I said multiple times, it doesn't matter what the four of us think, or the five of us, still think. What matters is what Goody thinks, and the fact that he never entertained this idea. It was never something that he was ever interested in, because the guy's been released for 2 weeks. He's been out there. There was not even a single call to Frank Bauer, his agent, to say, hey, with Devonte, he seems like he's interested in coming back based on what he says on K Adams' podcast. Is that something he's interested in? Do we want to talk about this? And that obviously never happened. So Goody, this was a non-starter for Goody. The fact that he never talked to him tells you that he was never interested in a reunion.
Yeah, so, Jason,
wild.
What bothers me about this is the fact that two things is that you may end up having to face Devonte Adams in a game that really matters in the playoffs, and he may torch you based off the way that your cornerback room is currently made up. But what about Goody makes him believe that he's smarter than a Les Snead who's won a Super Bowl?
I just don't think he thinks Devonte Adams at this point in his career is worth that kind of money, and he would rather continue to let his young guys grow and cross his fingers and hope that the development that did not. Yeah, it's not.
That's not a strategy.
Sorry, Jason. Kyle's in many stages of the grief cycle.
In his mind, it's not crossing his fingers. In my mind, it is. Right? You're hoping that two guys in Jaden Reed and Dontavion Wicks, who did not make the jump you wanted them to make in year two and dropped a ridiculous number of passes. They dropped more passes between the two of them, more than double the number of passes that were dropped by the entire Philadelphia Eagles roster. The Eagles dropped 7 passes all season. Those two guys dropped 19 combined.
Oh, so, better than drops a guy that going to catch that football and be an impact player. But I mean, I'm preaching to the choir.
But he's old. He's old in Goody's mind. 32 is old. So
you would have led your team receiver last year.
Right.
In just the 11 games, as Jason said, with the Jets.
And also, I had a couple of conversations with different people yesterday, including one in the building, who said that he never thought that they really recovered from moving on from Devonte. You think about what they did, and you guys have heard me go through the lineage time and time again of how one guy would be the number one, and then another guy would move past him, right? Whether it was Devonte with Jordy or Jordy with Greg Jennings. And then after they traded him to the Raiders, I mean, my goodness, Alan Lazard was your number one receiver. Come on. We all like Alan Lazard. We love the way he blocks. But there was no reason for him to be a number one receiver on a team with Aaron Rodgers on it. And 2022 went the way it did because they had him and 3 rookies at the top of their rotation at that position.
Oh, Jason, this is my last comment on this. When you're talking about the history, right? Historically, for Goody to be around this organization for so long, he's seen that transition.
And to preach history at the Combine about the way they've drafted for 30 years on defense.
But wide receiver-wise, they used to do so well because they had James Jones, they had Jordy Nelson, they had Greg Jennings, they had Devonte Adams, they had Donald Driver. They've had
packed rooms.
They've had guys that have been around for an extended period. So he knows what talent looks like. So it's disappointing. But I do want to know, Jason, would improvement through the draft be enough to make this team a Super Bowl contender next year?
First of all, they added a guard. Come on, man.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited about the guard, but we still know adding this.
No, you love a guard.
No one's excited about a guard.
No, I like big boys. I like them. I like them big. But
I cannot lie. Yeah. Look, I don't know what they're going to do in the draft. I still think that there are, and Tausch loves to tease me about this, but if you're smart about your bargain signings, they can be impactful players for you. And they don't have to be Zach Bond. But I always bring up these examples. Think back to Goody's tenure so far. He got Devondre Campbell. Now, he should have never re-signed Devondre Campbell and given him a 5-year, $50 million deal at the time. But he got him in June of 2021 for 1 year, $2 million. And the guy goes and he's a first-team All-Pro. He got Keyshawn Nixon for nothing, like the veteran minimum. And he went from a nobody to a all-pro kick returner to a top-flight slot corner to a guy that could be, if they don't add, a number one corner. Whether or not you want him to be the number one corner, I get it, but he's at least capable of being in that conversation. And then you mentioned Rasul Douglas, who is 29 years old, but he's going to turn 30 during 2025, so I assume that eliminates him from coming back as well. But they plucked him off of a practice squad, and he ended up, he had more picks than anybody during his time with the Packers. He
single-handedly won that Cardinals game.
Exactly. So, again, there's just because they don't make any big signings other than a big guard signing, and Kyle likes big boys and he cannot lie, that doesn't mean that they can't get guys that are going to help them and that they can't be in a Super Bowl. But they do need to continue. They've had some really good draft classes. Let's give Goody his flowers.
Yep.
But they need to have another good draft class, and then they need these guys that didn't make the biggest jumps to make really big jumps. They need, they moved on today from TJ Slayton. He's signed with the Bengals. Well, that means Devontae Wyatt better do a heck of a lot more than he's done to this point. They need Quay Walker to elevate his game like he was before he got hurt in Seattle and play at a really high level this season. Like, they need to improve from within if they want to be a Super Bowl team, because clearly they are not adding at a lot of positions that we all identify as needs.
Yes, as Jason Wilde joins us here on Kyle Brust and Ortman across ESPN Wisconsin. Jason, quickly before we let you go, I think it's just interesting seeing Carlton Davis leave Detroit and then DJ Reed sign. Obviously, the Bears are finally doing something in which they're investing in the offensive line. Whether it works for not or them, they're doing something. I just, as I look at the Packers and I hear Rob Domofsky on Wilde and Tausch talk about how he's, hearing from different agents that it sounds like the Packers are going to be in the mix with different players and, they're inquiring. And then to not inquire about Devonte Adams and the first signing to be a guard, is this just the moment that I need to remember? Because I'm like you, I'm saying this is my fault. I've been doing this long enough to know that it was 2019 and then it took 5 years later. I just think because of McKinney and Jacobs last year and being top 15 in cap space, there was an idea of, after Rob said that and Devontae, that there was going to be some needs of cornerback, edge, and wide receiver being addressed in free agency that we just never know when it comes to what Goody's thinking.
We don't, and that's obviously by design for him. But I would add a couple things. First of all, let's, again, there's a lot of ball game left, as good old Aaron Nagler likes to say. Secondly, Goody told us a lot of these things ahead of time. If you look at what he said after the season and at the scouting combine, one of the things he pointed out is that it's great that they have cap space, but they've got guys that they want to keep. And those guys cost money too. Just because they're not outside free agents doesn't mean they don't cost money against the cap to keep them, right? And Zach Tom is on that list. He's got to be next, right? They're going to invest in him. Again, we haven't seen all the specifics of this deal, but they've spent a lot on an offensive lineman. That is not something that you would have expected them to do. So they were a player, just no one thought that Aaron Banks, the number one guard on the board, was going to end up in Green Bay. I saw the Chiefs were expected to go after him. I saw the Vikings were expected to go after him, and instead the Packers got him. They made him their Xavier McKinney level priority today, and they got him. And now they've got some options on their offensive line. But there's no doubt there's more work to be done. But, anybody who took last year as, this is the new era of the Goody regime, and he's going to be a big spender in free agency every year. I mean, he also said at the Combine that this year's free agency class is not there's not the same kind of players that there were last year. So he said all these things. So if you're disappointed today with Aaron Banks, which is that the kid that joins the Mighty Ducks that was playing
Adam
for
Banks.
the other team? Oh, Adam Banks. Close. His brother.
He's big like Philip Banks.
Nice.
Great reference. I love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So what I'm saying is that you shouldn't be surprised that Goody's basically had two really big free agency years, 19 and last year. And we'll see who else he adds besides Aaron, don't call me Adam Banks.
A lot of ball game left, as Jason said. Jason, we appreciate the time, and we listen to you on Wilde and Tausch, 9 to noon across these very stations.
All right, guys. Take care. Be good.
That was Jason Wilde. Quid pro quo for the Green Bay Packers.
Can I just say, there's guys, as I see these names, there's guys that, we don't know everybody in NFL. NFL's throwing a lot of money around. Brad, you got to be serious.
The cap went up, man.
Don't even start.
Super Bowl runner-up Brad Nortman here with us. This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, who second place Brad is famous for being jealous of all these specialist contracts out there.
I am. I'm seeing a couple punter contracts come through the line and say, what? This guy's getting that. That used to be top of the market. Now it's just average deals. But you're right. It also goes to show for the Green Bay Packers, right? The cap is going up almost exponentially each year. So there's money to be spent. So I think that's where Packer fans get a little frustrated. You see all these other guys making money, guys you never even heard of making a bunch of money. So I think you just like to see the Packers make that splash. I just wish I would have played 10 years later.
Are we going to get, and I heard this on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, are we going to get Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love in Ireland on Ben Brust's report of September 28th?
Now that would be poetic.
I think you got to go.
Oh, for sure. Next.
You're listening to Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN.
Ben, I've been a fan of you since Scalzo and Brust was on the air. You kind of like a Pat McAfee for the ESPN Milwaukee. You kind of revolutionized this this channel and stuff.
Leo, I'm here for you, and I appreciate everything you say. We love you listening, and you can call in every day and say that. I won't get old.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Northbound on 43, we do have this backup from about Fond du Lac Avenue all the way up past Keith. We had an earlier accident there. It's now gone, but we've got a couple of broken down vehicles in the backup, so just something to keep in mind. Southbound on 43, also slowing down from Capitol Drive, heading down towards Locust. Westbound 94, you're slowing down from 30th Street to about Mitchell Boulevard. And then southbound 41's heavy just south of Appleton Avenue, heading down past Hampton. Traffic is brought to you by Snow River Mountain Resort in Michigan's UP. Over 125 inches of pure natural powder this season. Visit snowriver.com to book now. Snow River Mountain Resort, where the snow stays longer and the lines move faster. And check the TMJ4 Storm King forecast. Tonight, mostly clear, breezy, mild, a low of 40. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and cooler, breezy with a high of 44, early in the upper 30s by the evening. Weather's brought to you by National Liquor Mart at 16th and National in Milwaukee. Packed with the best beer, liquor, seltzer, and spirit deals in town. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, where your satisfaction is their plan of action. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Are you ready to shake things up at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee? All you gotta do is toss your rewards card into your favorite slots for drawing entries and a chance to be in the Roll for Riches game show. What's on the table? Oh, just $300K in cash and prizes. Play this March, and Thursday nights, you could get on a winning streak that, frankly, you deserve. Let it ride and roll for riches. Only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Whether you're about to graduate high school or have been in the workforce for years, it's time to take control of your future. Welcome to Lakeland University, where you call the shots. We use our flexible learning formats to customize your degree path. In-person, online, and virtual classes are all available. Lakeland University is designed around you, your goals, your schedule, your future. You can even earn up to 25% of your degree via paid work experiences. Ready to take control of your future? Let us customize an education to fit your needs. Visit lakeland.edu/ESPN to learn more.
Nestled along the shores of Lake Michigan, the Knickerbocker Hotel offers a timeless escape in the heart of Milwaukee. Immerse yourself in the rich history of this iconic landmark where charm meets modern luxury. Picture yourself enjoying breathtaking lake views, luxurious rooms, and dining at one of the finest restaurants in the city. Whether you're visiting for a weekend getaway or a special occasion, the Knickerbocker promises an unforgettable experience. Your perfect stay awaits at the Knickerbocker Hotel. For more information and to book your next stay, visit knickerbockerontheLake.com.
With your Saganiac Planning Marquette recap, I'm Will Summers. The Golden Eagles look to end their regular season on a high note, facing off against number 6 St. John's on Saturday. Cam Jones orchestrated a masterful performance on his senior day with 32 points, including a layup to take the lead with under a minute remaining in the game.
Cam Jones, scoop layup is good! In from the right with the left hand! Marquette up a point, 39 seconds left.
The game would eventually go to overtime, where St. John's would unfortunately hit a buzzer beater to take down Marquette, 86-84. The Golden Eagles will be back in action for the Big East tournament starting Thursday.
Don't miss the shot when it comes to offering medical coverage to your employees. Saganiac Planning can coach you on ways to balance costs and prioritize care for your employees with coverage provided by United Healthcare. Call Steve Fluellen, 262-783-6161. 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service. Insurance coverage provided by or through United Healthcare Insurance Company or its affiliate. Administrative services provided by United Healthcare Services, Inc. or its affiliate. Health plan coverage provided by or through United Healthcare of Wisconsin, Inc.
Let's talk about home turf. Your lawn is a reflection of your pride, hard work, and even competitive spirit. If you want a yard that makes the neighbors stop and stare, you need the right plan. That's where Weedman Lawn Care comes in. Weedman's lawn care program is kid and pet friendly, uses golf course quality fertilizer, and has an effective weed treatment to dominate any issue. Get a free quote of Weedman's winning formula for your yard at weedman.com and get 50% off your first treatment. That's weedman.com. Weedman for the win.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
On Twitter at KBN ESPN, just out there on the poll, is the Packers wide receiver 1 on the current roster? Now, I like this question for are they going to bring somebody in? Are they going to draft somebody? Or is it on the roster? But the deeper meaning behind this question is wide receiver 1. Like, there's a difference between your best pass catcher and a wide receiver 1. Like I had said earlier, with Devonte Adams this morning signing with the Los Angeles Rams, they have 2 wide receiver 1s. They have Puka Nacua and Devonte Adams. The Packers have Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Bo Melton. I'm missing one. Malik Heath.
Oh, yeah. Malik Heath.
How dare I? How dare I? Is the Packers wide receiver 1 on the roster?
To me, the answer is no. It's not, because you have to define what a wide receiver 1 is.
Are they going to have a wide receiver 1 next year?
Yeah, I mean, Goody ain't
800-990-3776. Carpless Talking Text Line, or catch us on YouTube at ESP Milwaukee and at ESP Madison. No!
Oh, breaking news!
This is good or not good, I don't know.
No, this has got to be good. It's breaking news.
It's breaking news.
Who we got?
Dove Kleiman reporting on Twitter. The Packers,
he's not a real source.
Wait. Let him finish. Dove, come on now, Dove. Come through.
The Packers expected to sign former Raiders cornerback Nate Hobbs to a 4-year, $48 million deal.
Oh, Nate must be pretty good getting $12 million a year.
Yeah, Nate's 25 years old.
Tom Pelissero on the report.
Thank God.
Thank God is right.
Hobbs. Okay.
Let's do some research, fellas.
I'm getting deep into Nate Hobbs. What I do know right away is he fits the Goody mold.
Sounds long, doesn't he? I don't know. He's
6'1". 6'1" corner.
6'1" corner.
Long, I don't know. Something about him seems lanky and long.
So I go to Wikipedia, and his picture is him pushing a guy. Now, that's the kind of grit I like.
Well, that's the physicality that potentially that's what they're looking for, right? Be able to play corner there with the half-lead defense. I mean, let's be honest.
This is a win.
We don't know enough about him.
No. No matter what, this is a win.
Depth. And he paid, and with the type of
depth, they needed another cornerback. This is a win. Don't poo-poo.
Big win.
This is a win. Wait a minute now.
Hold on.
It's a win.
Okay, poo-pooers.
Wait a minute.
This is the Strofe and Ben show.
Wait, I got to do research. I'm not just going to sit here and say I'm going to cheer on Nate Hobbs. I got to see how well he did, how well he performed. But based off the money that was spent, it seems like he probably is a starting corner in the NFL based off getting $12 million a year. Based off the contract, doing math.
Yeah, Goody must like him. As I look quickly at his stats, so he's a 5th-year NFL player. He has 3 interceptions his whole career. So
that's not necessarily a bad thing if you're not thrown at a lot.
Yeah, that's true. He's also never played a full season.
That was the one concerning thing out of his rookie year, but he only started 9 games, and he's gone 11, 13, and 11.
Yeah, and games.
Great, we got another J.R. Alexander.
11, 11, and 7. So Goody must at least Goody is looking to their weaknesses and trying to address them. So, look, I'll admit, I've never watched Nate Hobbs on film. I've never watched a Raiders game. I never even knew this guy really existed until this moment. But at least Goody is taking a swing at who he believes is going to be your new cornerback one, because this is cornerback one money.
Hopefully it wasn't recommended by Rich Bisaccia.
This is why I like it. From a standpoint of one of the biggest things of the 3 big positions of need, D-line, specifically edge, cornerback, and wide receiver. If you can bring in a guy that you know you're investing in, you still might grab a cornerback in the draft, but now you can prioritize edge again. Let's be honest. We know they're going to go defensive line within the first 2 rounds. They are.
Yeah.
If not, then he's basically saying we're running it back with the same guys minus TJ Slayton, and we know that they weren't able to get home with 4 last year. Unless LVN was put on a table like Captain America was before he turned into a super soldier, or before the Hulk became the Hulk and put all those gamma rays in him. Unless somebody has something going on with LVN that we don't know about, he's going to be a completely different person. That's going to be the worst 13th pick in the draft maybe the draft has ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, that's a compelling point for sure. You do know that the Packers are going to go D-line first 2 rounds, and maybe that means wide receiver is the other pick. Here's what I like. Might never have heard of Aaron Banks or Nate Hobbs before today, but we talked about, will the Packers at least sign an impactful player? Well, these guys are starters, right? And they're making more than starter money, right? That Aaron Banks and Nate Hobbs, for sure the guard, but with Nate Hobbs, that's quality starter money. So at least we have acquired 2 more starters going into it, and at least one of the positions was one of the 3 of need. So
Hobbs, Valentine, and Nixon. Does it sound like a new law firm, or was it Valentine and Valentine?
Valentine, Hobbs. I mean, I kind of like the Valentine and Valentine is perfect. It's perfect.
It wasn't as good as it needed to be, but it was a stopgap.
If Goody makes no more major signings, would this satisfy you?
I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't expect a lot more from big money.
I would agree. That's why I asked the question.
It would. I'm not going to lie. It would satisfy me because at the end of the day, although I would have liked for them to maybe use the left guard signing Aaron Banks for a position that's more flashy, maybe D-end, maybe a wide receiver that we all wanted.
I mean, Bump's flashy. It's just, you want to solidify this football team. You want to it's not about flash, it's about getting results.
Then that's what I'm saying.
At positions of high need. And offensive lineman is all, like you said, you
can't be mad in investing in the offensive line. If you are, then you don't know how to win football games.
And I just don't think there was a dire need at the offensive line last year that we had to go out and invest again. I'm not mad about that. I just wish there was a bigger investment D-line. Because one thing we learned last year from Goody is that he missed on safety. He rebuilt the safety position, and it all started with the signing of Xavier McKinney. And he really transformed this defense where he had more interceptions by himself than what the whole Packers defense had in the 2023-2024 NFL season. And so being able to reevaluate to say, okay, I signed a guy, he was impactful. Let's find a defensive lineman that can be impactful as well, because a great defensive lineman can change the face of this defense. It can change the trajectory of this defense when it comes to pass rush. And so that's what we wanted.
John in Milwaukee, 800-990-3776 on the Carbless Talk and Text line. John, you're up. Mr. Hobbs, what do you think?
I had an idea. I kind of talked myself out of it. Listen, you guys, I like the signing, but I'm agreeing with Kyle. You need somebody on the D-line who's just going to rain absolute havoc. I mean, if they could somehow take John Randall and inject his DNA into Lucas Van Ness and make him absolutely psychotic, that would be great. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, like I said, I've been watching way too many Marvel movies, hence why I said they need to do the Captain America or the gamma rays of Hulk into LVN. But you can't change somebody that you've seen 2 years of. And if he does not do anything this year, it will be such a disappointment from LVN. But this goes back to our conversation earlier, Brad. I want to get to this. Good or bad thing that we know the Packers are likely going to select a defensive lineman in the draft? Good or bad, because now they're pigeonholing themselves. We'll wrap up the ESPN Wisconsin portion hour. We're on 94.5 ESPN on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee until 5 o'clock. Next.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman.
I'm about being young, wild, and free.
No, you're not.
You're not young, wild, and free.
Yeah,
I am young.
You're not
wild,
that.
I am
Every
wild.
time I ask you to do something, I check with a girlfriend.
Wait, why are you taking so, why you going personal? Why you gotta talk about business? I can still be free with a lady.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. Jair Alexander is on the trading block.
What the heck are they going to get in a trade?
There are so many aspects to this. What he might think, what the team might think. What are the financial things? What are the money deals? So many parts to this.
Stay up to date with all green and gold transactions here.
Can anybody know how serious the injuries still are or not?
The Homer Hour, weekdays from 5 to 6 on 94.5 ESPN and streaming live on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channel.
Home practice is about to begin. Your daughter's new tap shoes? Loud. Your son's new tuba? Louder. But you got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with $50 overdraft grace zone. So if you lose track of expenses buying some noise-canceling and sanity-saving headphones, we've got your back. You got this with $50 overdraft grace zone from Associated Bank. See AssociatedBank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
It's what you wait for all week. The three-pointers, the rebounds, the thrill of every shot. Win or lose, it's the hope that keeps you coming back. The dream that this time, it might be your year. And so you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when the pressure's on, your support is everything. That's why the NBA store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Wisconsin is still cattle country. And that's why Bunzel's chose to stay close to home to hand select the finest beef. Quality goes into everything they do, from Bunzel's expansive array of meats, homemade specialty sausages, and their award-winning beef jerky. It just isn't a proper holiday meal without Bunzel's top quality cuts on the dinner table. Tasting is believing. Visit Bunzel's at 90th and Burleigh or bunzels.com.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at the Neal Group. Happy New Year. How's business? Do you really know? We recently worked with several clients who thought they knew, but didn't because their books were not in order. Imagine thinking you were making $1 million, but because your books are a mess, you were really only making $200,000. Quite a difference. Imagine finding out expenses were not properly recorded or sales were double recorded. If these happen to you, we can help. We work with our clients to clean up their books and give them the information they need to know where their business is now and where it is going in the future. Don't wait. Start on the path to less stress, more cash in your pocket, and no more sleepless nights. Call us at 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net today to book a meeting. We can talk over Zoom, the phone, in our office, or your place of business. Yes, we like to visit our business clients. Don't wait any longer. Call 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
Hey, Bucks fans, enjoy Michelob Ultra at Johnny's Poorhouse, Pleasant Prairie, Maxwell's in Cedarburg, Who's on 3rd Milwaukee, Romine's High Pockets Milwaukee, and Camp Bar Wauwatosa. Michelob Ultra, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Want to know where the snow is? Snow River Mountain Resort in Michigan's UP is buried in it. Over 125 inches of pure natural powder this season alone. Skip the airport hassle and head to the UP's only resort with high-speed lifts. We're talking deep snow, zero crowds, and a season that stretches well into April. Why fly south when winter's best-kept secret is right here in your backyard? Make this spring break legendary at Snow River Mountain Resort. Snow River Mountain Resort, where the snow stays longer and the lines move faster. Visit snowriver.com to book now.
You're listening to Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Make sure you head on over to the Princeton Club in Madison or the New Berlin location to create a strong body, a strong mind, and a better community. 60,000 meals were provided by the Princeton Club of New Berlin with the 300,000 check-ins. People just coming into the Princeton Club of New Berlin, boop, swiped it. Next thing you know, boop, meal for the community. They invest in the community. They invest in you. Check out the Princeton Club in Madison or New Berlin for a better tomorrow. Josina Anderson, a senior NFL insider, has this on a direct quote from Nate Hobbs. She's on the phone with her about going to Green Bay. He says, "I'm ecstatic. It has not sunk in yet. I'm still dumbfounded by the opportunity, and I'm ready to go to work."
Is he ecstatic about ready to go to work, or ecstatic about that $48 million?
Being with the Raiders in that division and facing those quarterbacks, I feel like I'm ready for anything in the NFC North, and I'm going with a lot of confidence. It prepared me for this. Now, another interesting tidbit from YouTube and the text line, a lot of KBN Nation chiming in. This was about a potential of Nate Hobbs going to the Detroit Lions, who brought in DJ Reed. Hobbs is an intriguing player who could fit Detroit's defense. However, there is one major concern. The defender has missed tackle percentage of 22.4% and a Pro Football Focus tackling grade of 37.6%.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. He avoids contact like the plague.
Slot corner. So, everyone, you got your wish. Keyshawn Nixon, CB1.
Wait, he's a slot corner?
Yeah.
I thought they moved him to the outside. I thought he plays him outside, too.
Maybe
he's $12 million for
versatility.
Nixon's going to play outside. Yeah, Hobbs was viewed as the top slot corner on the market.
Oh, no.
According to some source somewhere that I just read on Twitter, which is always a very trusty place.
Yeah, you read in the breaking news report before Rappaport, you gave me Dov Kleiman.
I gave an aggregator, which means somebody else reported
I know, but I want the real one on breaking news.
Isn't it rich that Ben Bruss judges sources?
Big journalism guy here. I'm capital J with the biggest J.
Somebody said the Raiders are not happy to lose him. So
good.
That's always good.
Yeah. Is he getting paid more than Keyshawn Nixon?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Keyshawn's
only getting like 4 years.
Yeah, Keyshawn's not making much at all.
Keyshawn's going to hold out.
Oh, stop.
You mean to tell me that I was a slot corner, and then I moved to the outside, and I played well enough for you to believe that
he
I
might actually be onto something.
No,
yeah, that's a good take.
I mean, I know what he just got re-signed to play slot corner and the kickoff return, and he ain't get paid like this. I'll be mad.
And he got some boldness. I mean, straight up saying, "Yeah, I ain't returning kicks anymore." And then he'd be like, "Okay, we're gonna have a conversation about that."
If we hired a new Kyle Wallace, and I found that he got paid significantly more than me to do the same job,
a new Kyle Wallace,
I'll be knocking on Brian's door. I'll be knocking on Greg's door. I'll be knocking on Craig's door. I'll be blowing up.
Jesse
Craig's
Nelson
phone.
might be able to give you a raise.
Does he do that?
Hell no. I mean, he actually might. I don't. Whatever power he has is too much.
Can I get paid a Madison rate too?
You gonna double dip?
Yeah, might as well.
I
love Madison.
Well, we're about to leave Madison for Jim, Matt, and Molly. Jim, Matt, and Molly are coming up next on 100.5 ESPN. Corey and Wally in Beaver Dam. We're on 94.5 ESPN and on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee until 5 o'clock. And despite everything that has happened, we have not mentioned one person, and one person who may be the most important piece of the success of the Green Bay Packers in 2025. I'll tell you who that is and why it's so important in 2 short minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Sell out with me, oh yeah, sell out with me tonight. The record company's only give me lots of money and everything's gonna be alright.
Southbound on 43, backing up from Capitol Drive all the way down past Locust. We